Welcome to Mr. Nelson's YouTube video over rotations. Alright, so today in class, what you are going to do is we are going to take a nice set of notes over rotations. Okay, this set of notes needs to go into your notebook that you have for my class. Paste it in there however you want to get it into your notebook. You need to hold on to this, okay? Alright, so rotations is what we're looking at. We're looking at 90 degree. We're looking at 180 degrees. We're looking at 270 degrees. We're looking at 360 degrees. All of these rotations are rotated at the point of the origin. Okay? So they're all rotated from the point of origin. 90, 180, 270, and then 360. Okay? Your very first set of notes that we're doing is you're going to start off by taking our original image, is what we've got right there, our original figure, our original shape, is that ABC, the triangle ABC. So I've got this triangle ABC. And you can see it right over here, it's in green. Okay? What you need to do is you need to take and need to plot these points on your graph. I would definitely use some color on this just so that you can see the different triangles and see that they're moving and see that the points are moving. Okay? If you want to even, you can color each point a certain color. I did it all green. You could do it to where there's different colors for A in each of your triangles that we're going to do, different colors for B in your different triangles that we're going to do, and different colors for C if you'd like. But you don't have to do that. You can do it just how I did it if you'd like as well. Alright, so this is my original figure. Plot the points that are here and make sure you label A, B, C. Okay? Also, make sure that you put on here algebraic representation and put the original, and then don't worry about the clockwise 360 just yet. I'll explain that when we get there, okay? Alright, so make sure you have everything that is on here, okay? And we'll go to the next figure, okay? This is our original figure, and what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this figure 90 degrees, okay? After we've rotated 90 degrees, you'll see what happens. Alright, we took our figure, this is now in quadrant 4, we took it from quadrant 1, and we rotated it 90 degrees. When we rotate it 90 degrees from the origin, we get this figure. You can see A, C, and B, okay? Our A went from being up top, right? And it rotated 90 degrees clockwise. So now it's over here on the side. You can see that. Our B went from being over here on the side, rotated 90 degrees from the origin to the left side. And our C went from being down over here in our triangle, rotated 90 degrees to up at the top of the paper. Okay? See how A is at the top, B is at the bottom right, C is at the bottom left. Now C is at the top, went from the bottom left up to the top. You can see the rotation, correct? Alright, so we rotated our figure 90 degrees and we got A prime, B prime, C prime. Because we don't have the original, so they're prime. Okay? So, our new points are here. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to plot these points on your graph. Okay? Algebraically, what happened if you look to go from A, B, and C on that last page, it was 8, 12 for A, 8, 12, and to go from the original A to my A prime right here, as you can see, I took my Y, and that is now in front. So now my Y becomes my X, and I took my X, and it became my Y, but it also changed the sign in front of it to negative. Okay? So when you rotate, the algebraic representation is you take your y, and it now is your x value, as you can see right here, and then you take your x and you change the sign in front of it. Okay? So all you have to do is take your algebraic representation and plug in your original. Okay? So I took my original and I plugged it into my algebraic representation. Okay? Alright, so make sure that you write all that down. Okay? Write all this down right over here. Rotated clockwise, which is that way, 90 degrees. You can see at the bottom. Okay? Make sure you write all this stuff down, including the algebraic part. Okay? Alright, so then we've got rotated 180 degrees. So my original started in the top quadrant right here. And my second one ended up right here. And it was A, B, C. And then it's A, B, C. And you can see now, when I rotate it from my original 180 degrees, my B is now up top here. My A is kind of towards the bottom. My C is now over to the right. Okay? So it's 180 degrees from my original. It's only 90 from my, if I was doing a rotation from my already rotated 90 degree figure. But it's 180 from my original is what I'm actually looking at here. Okay? So my original, right? Double prime. I did double primes because this has been reflected more than once. Okay? Or rotated. Don't listen to Mr. Nelson when he says reflected. It's rotated. 180 degrees clockwise. So I took that figure and I rotated it 180 degrees clockwise. Okay? If you look, most important part of this is that algebraic representation of a clockwise rotation of 180 degrees. Okay? So I've got my new points right here, here, and here. And the only thing that happened was I changed the sign from my original figure. Okay? Change the sign of my original figure. Because A was 8, positive 12. And the new A, the A double prime of clockwise 180 degrees, was negative 8, 12. And all I did was change the sign in front. I didn't have to flip the X to the Y or the Y to the X. All I had to do for a rotation of 180 degrees was change the sign in front. So if you see the original was 8, 12, and you see that the new was negative 8, negative 12, you know that it is a rotation of 180 degrees. Okay? Make sure you label everything and you put the points on your graph. Make sure you say clockwise 180 degrees. Make sure you have the algebraic representation. Okay? Make sure you have everything that is on this page. Okay? So everything that is on this page you should have on your paper. All of this should be on your paper. Alright, and clockwise 270 degrees. Clockwise 270 degrees from the original. The original again started in the top right quadrant, which is quadrant number 1. And this one is in quadrant number 2. It was A, B, and C, right? That's what it looked like. Now you can see that A is off to the side here, C is right here, and B is right there. A, C, B. Okay? So this is a clockwise rotation. So if I took this figure right here and I rotated it 270 degrees, I would get this figure that is right here. Okay? Most important part is make sure you have that algebraic representation of a clockwise rotation of 270 degrees. Okay, make sure you have that algebraic representation of that clockwise rotation of 270 degrees. Your new points, make sure you have all your points labeled. Okay, I put on here a triple prime because I've rotated it 3 times. I didn't want you to get confused. Okay, I've rotated it 3 times. I rotated it 90, I rotated it 180, and now the 270. Okay, and last but not least is that 360 degree rotation. If you take your figure and you rotate it 360 degrees, you get the same exact figure out. Okay? You'll get the same exact figure out. I didn't change any of the primes to this figure, but if you did rotate it 360 degrees, you'd have to say what your new primes were. Well, this is A and A prime to the 4th, which is both 8, 12. Okay? If you rotate it 360 degrees, you get the same exact figure out. Okay? If you rotate it 360 degrees, you get the same exact figure out. Okay? You see that clockwise? 360 degrees, you get the same exact figure out. Okay? Make sure you have everything that is drawn or written on this piece of paper. Oops. Yep. All right. So make sure you have everything that is drawn or written on this sheet of paper. Make sure you have some nice color going on. Make sure you have all the points labeled. Make sure you have the algebraic representation written down. Okay? Because the algebraic representation is the most important. Okay? Clockwise 270, original clockwise 360, clockwise 90, clockwise 180. Okay? My original figure started in the first quadrant. Okay? Every time you rotate clockwise, it's going to move quadrants, it looks like. Okay? Every time you move clockwise, it's going to move quadrants. So if your original started in the first quadrant and you rotated clockwise to the second quadrant, what kind of rotation is it? Yeah, since it's rotated from the origin, guess what? It is a 270 degree rotation. Same thing for the 90. If you go from the first quadrant to the fourth quadrant, guess what? That's right, it's a 90 degree rotation. Okay? If my original figure started in this quadrant and I went to this quadrant, what kind of rotation is that? A 90 degree. If it started in quadrant 2 and went to quadrant 1, what kind of rotation was that? A 90 degree. Okay? You can always apply the same algebraic rules for whatever degree rotation you're looking at. 270 is always going to be flipping your x and y and changing the sign of your y. 270 is always going to be just changing the sign of your x and your y. Okay? Make sure that you have everything written that is on these slides. Alright. Now, come see Mr. Nelson for your 4 quadrants. Okay? It might be posted already through the projector. Okay? So check the projector first. If it hasn't been posted yet, say, Mr. Nelson, I need my 4 quadrant. We're using the nice piece of paper with 4 graphs already on it. Okay? What you did your warm-up on. Okay? Alright.